The Rams are being extremely cryptic about Matthew Stafford's back injury. We'll give you the latest. Also, is Stetson Bennett him? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramley, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor. Join the party, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and if you're a daily viewer of Locked On Rams and you want to support the show every single episode, the best way to do that, hit the like button, drop a comment down below. Podcast listeners, write us a review. We'll read it on the show. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me DMAC. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. Today I'm flying solo, the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers. He'll be back tomorrow. And on today's episode, who stood out in the Rams' second preseason game? We've got our 10 big takeaways from that. We got to start with Matthew Stafford because the Rams, they're being secretive about Matthew Stafford's workout on Saturday. So just to rewind, the previous Saturday, before their first preseason game against the Dallas Cowboys, Sean McVay said that Matthew Stafford looked awesome. He said that he threw 60-plus passes. He wasn't limited. He said it was a big step in the right direction, and he was excited. You could hear it in his voice. You could see it in his eyes that it looked like Matthew Stafford was nearing a return to practice, or they were just going to take a big next step forward with him. And on Saturday, kind of the tune changed, because they didn't reveal anything. They didn't even reveal whether or not he threw, whether or not he practiced in any capacity. And it got to the point where it just, let's be honest, felt a little strange. Aubrey Pleasant, he was the Rams head coach on Saturday. And the difference between this Aubrey Pleasant coaching preseason experience and last year is that Sean McVay did not do an in-game interview with JB Long and Mina Kimes and the broadcast team and Maurice Jones-Drew. He did not. So it made you wonder, why was that? And he also did not hold a post-game press conference, which is understandable because they were always going to allow Aubrey Pleasant to handle that. But when Aubrey Pleasant was asked for an update on Matthew Stafford's workout and if he threw, he said at this point in time, anything regarding Mr. Stafford, I'm going to wait for Coach McVay to address you guys on Monday, end of quote. Then there was a follow-up question that was asked by a reporter. Was Matthew Stafford on the sideline or in the building during the game? And Aubrey Pleasant responded with, quote, anything regarding Mr. Stafford, I'm going to let Sean go ahead and regard that. To be honest with you, I was so tapped into the ones that had their jerseys on, I wouldn't be able to honestly answer that. So I understand they're trying to keep whatever is going on with Matthew Stafford close to the vest. And for whatever reason, no one even wants to confirm whether or not he was there, whether or not he threw. But let's be honest. I mean, Aubrey Pleasant knew if Matthew Stafford was in the stadium, right? Okay, like, don't insult my intelligence there. If I'm the reporter, I'm thinking, don't insult my intelligence, right? You can say no comment, but to act like you didn't know that he was in the building or he didn't throw or anything like that, it gets to a point where you're kind of insulting the intelligence of the reporter. In that case, I mean, you just got to say no comment, just repeat what you did. Understandable. I get it. It makes sense from his standpoint. He doesn't want to give up anything. If he was given that opportunity and they gave him a strict guideline to not say anything about Matthew Stafford, and he did, well, it would not look good for him. And he would definitely hear it from the Rams organization if that was the case. But then reporters also asked Stetson Bennett about it. And Stetson Bennett said, I was so locked in each and every snap, I didn't really look too closely. So, again, you mean to tell me that Matthew Stafford either was there, was not there, and Stetson Bennett didn't know about it? I mean, come on now. Let's just get a little serious about this. I mean, it's okay to say no comment on that one too, but to say you didn't really look too closely. I mean, look, these guys, they were dodging this like they were Neo from the Matrix. Just here's the Stafford question as the bullet, and they're doing the Neo all the way moving back and dodging. And look, clearly that was the plan. So we'll find out tomorrow what is the status of Stafford. The Rams are being extremely tight-lipped about this. Ideally, he starts practicing extremely soon so he can get as ready as possible for the Rams opening game against the Houston Texans on September 7th. We're cruising through August. Before you blink, the way the time's flying, it's going to arrive very quickly, but it just makes you wonder why. I mean, was it, okay, we don't want to have it be a distraction to the guys that are currently playing. We don't want to put Aubrey Pleasant in a situation where he has to talk Matthew Stafford because we know that Sean McVay, he is so well trained. He is so savvy when it comes to dealing with the media that if it's positive or negative or whatever it may be, that he would do a better job in it. And I think for Aubrey Pleasant, he would not have gotten the full experience if Sean McVay was communicating in any way. But you could also tweet something out. I mean, there's other ways you can kind of relay that information. So this could be a nothing burger. Hopefully it is. But it's going to be highly anticipated tomorrow to find out what exactly happened this weekend with Matthew Stafford. So that's where we'll leave it because we're not going to speculate too much about it just because, hey, they declined to answer it and we'll respect them for it. And tomorrow we're going to get all the information. Okay, so now let's shift gears about something that's really fun to talk about, and that is the Rams beating the Chargers, the Los Angeles Tenants, at SoFi Stadium, week 2 of the preseason. The Chargers, they came in as the best team of the preseason. They were 2-0 in their first 2 games with big wins in those first 2 games. They played some of their starters in these games, which was their way to go. And it was all about Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett, he led them to a big-time comeback win over the Chargers. He had a game-winning TD to True Edwards with 5 seconds left, and that came right after a incredible play by Stetson Bennett, keeping the play alive and throwing a jump ball to Brendan Presley with a 40-yard prayer of a bomb on 4th and 10, and he makes the catch, and then they get the game winner right after that. The final score was 23-22. So for a preseason game, this was as dramatic, as entertaining, as electric as you're going to see in the final seconds. And it meant something. It truly did for another major positive moment for Stetson Bennett. And we're going to get through the winners and losers and the big takeaways and the big standouts next. But just kind of some of the numbers off the rip here. The Rams had 458 yards of total offense. That was a significant advantage over the Chargers. And you had 324 passing yards from Stetson Bennett. That was more than the 291 total yards of the Chargers that they had as an entire team. The Rams were moving the football. They had 26 first downs compared to the Chargers' 10. And the offensive line showed their depth once again. They only allowed 1 sack and 1 tackle for a loss. So it was a very impressive performance. Brendan Presley, Xavier Smith stepped up, and it was just as dramatic as you're going to see. Stetson Bennett was just incredible in this one. Did throw an interception, did have an almost interception, but hey, it was a Saturday, so the mailman was still delivering, and he certainly did, and he's riding high with a lot of confidence. And I'm not saying this is wait, are we going to rethink the conversation about the quarterback position long term? But at the very least, Stetson Bennett has entered the chat. Stetson Bennett certainly has entered the chat because, yes, it's preseason, but he's also playing with the preseason weapons. So we're going to talk some Stetson Bennett and our big takeaways from the Rams' second preseason game. Can Stetson Bennett be that guy? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. This episode of Locked On Rams is brought to you by BetterHelp. These days, it feels like there's advice for everything. Cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes. But how do you know what actually works for you? With so much information online about mental health and wellness, it can be overwhelming to figure out what's true and what will actually help. That's where talking to a licensed therapist through BetterHelp can make all the difference. You get real, personalized guidance instead of just guessing based on something you saw on social media. Therapy can help a lot of things. If you're stressed, if you just need someone to talk to help get you through a tough time, I have a lot of family members that have had so much success with therapy and just having that trusted professional to talk things through where you can open up and get some things off your chest. You can clear your mind. You can cut through the noise and you can keep focus on what matters most. And with over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, serving more than 5 million people. It's easy to fit into your schedule, too. Just click to connect, and you can even switch therapists anytime you need to. So talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNFL. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOn. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Also want to give a big shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching, listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. We've got Monday through Friday in the mornings and also twice a week, once during the week and once following the game, the squad show. So be on the lookout for that. Myself, Gavin Carlson, and Rams legend, Michael Brockers. So be on the lookout for that. But all right, let's get into it here in our second segment. First big takeaway is Stetson Bennett is a lock to make this team. They will not cut him in any way, shape, or form. If he had performed poorly in the first two games, that's something they probably would be considering at this point. But not only is he going to make this team, makes you wonder what his ceiling really is. And yes, he is closer to 30 than he is to 20. Yes, he is on the older side of a quarterback prospect, but it just makes you wonder if you design an offense around him, if you have him playing with the first team. I was told, I'm old enough to remember when people said he didn't have an NFL arm. And one of the prettiest plays of the game was not just that 40-yard bomb, but the touchdown to Mario Williams. Just a very nice dime of a football, and he can make throws in the pocket. He can go off platform. He can use his legs to extend plays and get some yards on the ground. And the first thing that he needed to do this preseason was make it to where there was zero chance the Rams would cut him. And the truth is that other teams would come calling if they decide to move off him at this point because of what he's put on tape. But this is the best game he's ever played as a pro. It really is. The throws that he was making, the command of the offense, just the play at the end of the third quarter, though. The play action, Mario Williams, I mean, just a great ball, right? In the pocket, in rhythm, fires it. And it was just really impressive to see that. And I think for him, really just moving forward, next season, when Jimmy Garoppolo is most likely gone, can step into that role. And if you're a backup quarterback on a NFL team, once you get to that backup role, at some point, that regular season opportunity is going to arrive. And when it does, if we start to see these Stetson Bennett type things where he's competing, and that's what really stands out. I mean, this guy likes to compete. You're never out of it with Stetson Bennett. I mean, there's guys that are gamers. There's guys that have it factor. There's guys that bring extra juice. And Stetson Bennett, even though he's undersized, he's not a prototypical NFL quarterback, some guys just defy those traditional traits, and you just put them on a field in a real game, and they find a way to make plays and lead an offense. So I was extremely impressed. I mean, just that clutch gene is in him. And we saw that at Georgia when he won 2 national titles. But to drive that Rams offense 75 yards in 10 plays with 1:28 left in the fourth quarter, and then you get the game-winning touchdown to True Edwards, a 5-yard throw after the Presley bomb. He was great. Honestly, he was great. And even my favorite thing, too, the interception there in the third quarter where he just didn't see the underneath guy and he kind of snuck in and got the interception. I love the dog in him to try to go make that tackle. 5'10", 5'11", going against a big NFL defensive player like that. And let's be honest. Let's wait. We're not going to jump the gun on Matthew Stafford, but there is some uncertainty there, at least right now. So the better that Matthew Stafford's backups are, the better you feel about your team. And yeah, is Stetson Bennett winning the Super Bowl for the Rams on my bingo card in 2025? No, it isn't. But you would feel even worse about the situation right now if Stetson Bennett wasn't playing the way he has been for the first 2 preseason games. So give him credit. He's had a lot of doubters. I saw people, he's going to be selling insurance. He's going to work at a car dealership. He's going to go back and hang out at his frat in Georgia. All those things, right? No. He has shown at this point he has the talent to be an NFL quarterback, and even if that's a backup, you're still one of the best 64 quarterbacks in the world, and that's saying something. I think that he's not 64, so let's just put it like that. So, hey, all the love in the world going to Stetson Bennett today. All right, now, next big takeaway, the depth at the running back position continues to stand out in the first couple of games because Kyren Williams hasn't played all preseason, but the Rams are still moving the football on the ground. And you saw a lot less Blake Corum in this one. But Blake Corum, 22 yards on 4 carries. He came out, he got his work done early. And then Jarquez Hunter, 55 yards on 15 carries. And then Cody Schrader had 48 yards on 13 carries. So you have a nice stable of backs right there. You got Kyren Corum, Jarquez Hunter, and Cody Schrader. I think all 4 of those guys, we know Kyren and Blake Corum are both locks, but I think Jarquez Hunter and Cody Schrader both make that squad. And I think Cody Schrader, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's surpassed Ronnie Rivers on the team. I mean, that's just obvious at this point. He can make some catches out of the backfield. He can just make some plays. And the Rams should feel awesome about the depth they have at that position because even though Kyren was durable last year, he has missed time throughout most of the seasons of his career. And it's not even just, if he does go down, you got someone to plug in. It's, we have a backup, and the backup to the backup can go in there, give you a different look, and keep Kyren Williams as fresh as possible so he's got enough gas in the tank when the playoffs roll around and you can help him avoid injury. And let's not forget, this is a guy who just gave an extension too. So really like where the Rams running back room is right now. Very excited about it. Then other big takeaway in this one, Xavier Smith, you are a made man as far as you're not going to be playing in preseason games. I think that is kind of the graduation for Sean McVay's system. You play in 1 preseason game, you play in 2. If you start to perform well and they believe in you, in your role, then you start to see him in the Rams warm-ups with the bucket hats and you're doing sideline interviews. It's how it is. It almost is like when college football players, right? You got the NFL guys from those colleges, they come back and they watch their colleges, their alma mater's bowl games, their rivalry game. They're just sitting there on the sideline kind of watching things. That's kind of how it feels. And I would be pretty shocked at this point if they use Xavier Smith in the last game. He's been really, really good as a wide receiver. He's got speed. He also plays physical too. And what I really like about him too is he's not afraid to go over the middle and make a catch. He had that 25-yard catch on that dig route. It was a deeper dig. And then he also was taking a hit from a Chargers defender, and he was not afraid. So I think for a guy that size, when you're not afraid and you got that mentality out there on the field, it shows. And those are the kind of players the Rams want. You want tough, physical receivers that you can use in different roles and that you can feed the ball all over the field. Not just guys that are, okay, go run a go route. Okay, do this. No, they want guys that you can mix in so you're not limiting the play call. You're not limiting the offense. So on top of everything else, we know that if you're not one of those top guys in the depth chart, especially for the receiver spot where you got Puka, you got Devontae Adams, and you got Tutu Atwell, and Jordan Whittington will be in that mix as well. Well, we know that those guys are going to get the lion's share of the snaps. So having a Xavier Smith with the ability to return kicks, to return punts, that is another reason why he will help this team in a couple different ways. And I think, too, he hasn't been doing that in preseason because they know that he can do that already at the regular season level. So there's nothing that you need to see from him anymore. Like, he's ready to go. So he's going to be on this team. So got to feel really good about Xavier Smith. But there's some other young receivers that are stepping up too, staying on that side of the field in that room. There's some guys that you really like. I mean, Brendan Presley, he had 6 catches for 102 yards. Ed Smith had the 4 catches for 49 yards. Mario Williams had a 38-yard touchdown. That was a really nice route. You saw why he was a highly recruited player in college. And then True Edwards, he catches that game winner, and he's also made some tough catches too, using those hands. So you look at that group right there, and that's a lot of quality for guys that probably are not going to make this team with Presley, Edwards, and Williams. But, I mean, at the very least, they are establishing themselves in this league and with this organization. So there's talent there to provide depth in the future. And I think this really also speaks to how good this organization is at developing guys in the margins and really just optimizing what they have in them. So, yeah, give a lot of credit to them. It hurts just because some of those guys are not going to make this team, most likely, but still it is something to feel good about. But coming up next, we're going to take a look at some of the defensive takeaways from this one. We got the PFF grades coming out soon. Lots to talk about. So this should be a 2-hour episode every show because now we got so much football to get into here on Locked On Rams. This episode of Locked On Rams is brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best time of the year. NFL kickoff is almost here, and that means fantasy football season is back in full swing. And this year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before. This year, myself and Travis, we're playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. I've used Yahoo Fantasy for years, and the updates they're rolling out this year are wild in the best way. One of my favorite features, the new Guillotine Leagues. They just dropped. Every week, the lowest scoring team is eliminated, and the last one standing wins. It's like Squid Game for Yahoo Fantasy Football. Whether you're all in on something new or you like sticking to head-to-head leagues or jumping into public leagues, Yahoo's got you covered. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. And to kick it off, they just dropped those Guillotine Leagues I was talking about. It's that killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's one team left standing. With the new season around the corner, that's the best time to get it going. That is the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. If you're more of the classics, like I said, you can still go head-to-head and have those private leagues, or you can join a public league. So stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/lockedon. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Okay, so here in our third segment, we're going to go to the defensive side of the football. And one thing that really stood out to me was the play of the cornerbacks, because we know how that room is going to shake out at the top. You got Akella Witherspoon. You got Darius Williams. You've got Kobe Durant. Also, Emmanuel Forbes Jr., who the Rams claimed last year after the Commanders just gave up on him. Those guys are all locks. After that, though, there's going to be some discourse about that amongst the Rams because A.J. Green, I thought he had a really strong showing. He had 2 pass breakups. Cam Lampkin wasn't great this week, but he was really good in the Rams' first preseason game against the Cowboys. Had a big interception late in that one. Charles Woods, he made some really nice plays, had a nice deflection on that deep ball over the middle. And then how about old friend Darian Kendrick, too? He's been on this team for a while now. They brought him back, and Darian Kendrick is someone that, hey, I like the sticky coverage that he showed. I mean, he caused an incompletion. He got his hands on the football. We know he's not the fastest guy, but he can be physical, and he can make some plays sometimes. I think the guy that really is slipping is Sean Jolly. He looks like he has a lot of work to do to really catch up with those other guys there in front of him, but I like the depth. I really do. I think that is going to be difficult. If the Rams had a couple of guys that they thought they were going to choose from after seeing this, I think now that maybe 1 or 2 has gone to 4 or 5 guys as far as selecting who's going to make that team. And then how about edge rusher Brennan Jackson? So he didn't really do much last week against the Cowboys, but in this one, he really stepped up. He sacked Justin Herbert going up against that first-team offense of the Chargers. He was the big reason why the Bolts were held to that field goal early in the game in the opening drive. And then later, he had another sack to keep the Chargers out of the end zone. So some big pressures, big sacks, and big situations. And for him, he's got a real opportunity. I mean, all these guys have opportunities at that position because Michael Hoyt is not wearing the horns anymore. Jared Verse and Byron Young, we know those are the guys, but you got Jackson, you've got Josiah Stewart, you've got other guys that are vying for that position. And Brennan Jackson really showed that, hey, I'm wanting to put my hat in the ring here to try to see if I can take down that spot because it's wide open, and the guy that can provide that depth and just complement those guys, and if you need them in the spot, you can feel confident they can provide something. It's there. Opportunity is certainly there. I also think, too, Desjuan Johnson. I mean, Desjuan Johnson, some of the moves that he made, those rip moves and just that quick stutter step that he has, I really like the action on him. He's impressive. I mean, that was his best game. I mean, he absolutely was the highlight down at that D tackle spot. I think the pressures that he was creating, he was also effective in the run game. It was a really, really good game for him. And I think when you look at the preseason, it's not the end-all, be-all when it comes to that position because you want to see how those guys look up against first-team starting offensive linemen. But still, I think that Desjuan Johnson's had a lot to prove, and he's really gotten off to a really good start this preseason. So I'm pretty optimistic about him. So tomorrow, we're going to talk about the players that did not have good games and some other winners and losers, and we'll get into that. And hopefully, we'll finally get our update on Matthew Stafford, and we'll know where this team's at the quarterback position because it was just a little weird over the weekend, if we're being completely honest. But great to see the Rams get another win. Great to see Stetson Bennett continuing to have that success. And it's great that football season is almost here. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.